My ex remarried a week after our divorce. Then I saw who she was and burst out laughing because she was the one person I never thought I'd ever see beside him, smiling like she'd won some long, secret competition. And the moment I recognized her, everything that felt confusing about my marriage suddenly became embarrassingly clear. But I should start where things actually began, quietly, slowly, the way erosion steals a cliff while everyone stares at the ocean instead. Evan and I had been married 6 years when the distance between us stopped feeling temporary. At first, it was tiny things, a half-hearted kiss, a forgotten goodnight, a dinner where he ate quickly and stared at his phone more than at me. Ordinary things people brush off. But ordinary things become warnings when they appear too often. One night, he came home smelling like a floral perfume I didn't recognize. It wasn't sharp like my lavender spray or light like the vanilla mist I kept in my bathroom. This one was warm, expensive, and unfamiliar. I asked if he'd been around someone new, and he simply shrugged and said the office manager had hugged everyone after a meeting. It didn't feel like a lie, but it didn't feel like the truth either. I wanted to ask more. I didn't. He seemed tired, and the last thing I wanted was to become the kind of person who picked fights over sense. A week later, a message appeared on his phone while he was in the shower. I only saw the preview because the screen lit up the dark room. Tomorrow. Same place? No name, no details, just enough to make my stomach tighten. But the real crack appeared on our anniversary. I'd taken the afternoon off, wanting to surprise him. I cleaned the house, cooked his favorite meal, even bought a small cake with gold lettering. I wore a deep green dress, he once said, made my eyes look warm. The candles flickered softly, giving the room a glow that made everything feel gentle, hopeful. He never came home. At 10:43, my phone buzzed. Working late. Don't wait. No apology. No explanation. Not even a period. I cleaned the table in silence, blew out the candles, and sat on the couch until the room felt too heavy to stay in. The next day, I called his office because the uneasiness wouldn't let me breathe normally. His receptionist, a kind woman named Jill, answered. I know this is strange, I said. But is Evan there? I can't reach him. There was a brief pause. Oh, he isn't working with us anymore. He resigned last Friday. Resigned. Just like that. Without telling me. Without mentioning anything about a life-changing decision. I thanked her, hung up, and sat very still because movement felt like it would shatter me. That evening, when I got home, Evan was packing. Not moving in a rush. Not panicked. Calmly. Neatly. As though this had been planned long before the cracks had shown on my side of the wall. You're home early, he said without looking at me. What's going on? My voice sounded too small. I'm leaving, he said, folding shirts into a suitcase. I got a job offer in Phoenix. It's a better fit. You quit your job. You're moving states. And you didn't think to talk to me? He zipped the suitcase slowly. Talking would have made it harder. For you? I asked. For both of us, he lied. Then he placed an envelope on the bed. Divorce papers. My hands trembled when I touched them. Evan, why? He sighed, annoyed. We haven't been working for months. You focus too much on work. You're distracted. You don't take care of things like you used to. I cook. I clean. I pay half the rent, I whispered, stunned. You don't try anymore, he muttered. I tried, I said. You stopped meeting me halfway. He didn't respond. He just pulled his suitcase upright, walked past me, and left. No goodbye. No hesitation. Just the soft click of the door that sounded more final than any argument could have been. 2 days later, I received a notice from our landlord saying Evan had asked to remove his name from the lease and that I needed to vacate the apartment by the end of the month. His message to them was short. I don't live there anymore. I signed the divorce papers because fighting felt pointless. My heart was exhausted, and my mind felt like it had been stuck inside a maze with no exit. One week after everything became official, he remarried. People kept sending me links and photos. I ignored them until I couldn't. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. It pretends to be harmless until it sinks its teeth into you. When I finally opened the picture, I froze. There she was, the new wife. Pretty, polished, symmetrical in the way people get when they take online tutorials on how to pose their chin and soften their jawline, and a ring so large it looked like she was advertising it. Her name, Naomi Wells. But I knew her by another name, Naomi Greer. 10 years earlier, I worked at a small interior design studio. Naomi had been hired as a junior assistant. Back then, she was painfully sweet, too sweet. The kind of person who handed out compliments like business cards and always remembered birthdays, allergies, and the smallest grievances people had. Everyone adored her. But Naomi hid ambition behind big, innocent eyes. Ambition so sharp it cut people without leaving a visible scar. When our firm announced they were opening a new project director position, I considered applying. My boss encouraged me. Naomi overheard. And suddenly, strange things began happening. Project files disappeared. Measurements were altered. My login was used to send insensitive emails to clients, messages I never wrote. My boss confronted me twice about mistakes that made no sense. My confidence shattered slowly, piece by piece. Then a coworker received a complaint letter, supposedly from me, accusing him of inappropriate comments. It was forwarded to HR. It had my signature. It wasn't mine. I confronted Naomi alone in the supply room. I still remember the way she smiled small, soft, triumphant. "I needed the job," she whispered, "and you were in my way." HR later found evidence. She was let go swiftly, but before leaving, she leaned close to me and said, "You trust people too easily. That's your weakness." It took months for me to rebuild my reputation, years to rebuild my self-confidence. And now, Evan had married her. Life has a strange sense of humor. A month after their wedding, I saw Naomi at the grocery store. She walked like she owned the place, wearing a tan trench coat and holding a basket filled with ingredients too fancy for a Tuesday afternoon. "Laura?" she said with a bright, polished smile. I nodded stiffly. Small talk followed, fake, polite, dripping with the kind of sugar that rots teeth. Then she lifted her left hand, showing off the ring. "Evan's been wonderful," she said. "He trusts me completely. It's refreshing." I felt the old sting of her words from a decade ago. Trust was her greatest weapon. "Well," I said, "I hope things work out for you both." "Oh, they will," she said confidently. "Some people just aren't meant for certain roles. You know how that is." My grip tightened on my grocery basket. The implication was subtle but intentional. I left without responding, but something gnawed at me. The universe wasn't done. 2 weeks later, Evan called at nearly 11 at night. I stared at my phone for 30 seconds before picking up. His voice cracked. "Laura, I think I made a mistake." I said nothing, waiting. "She isn't who I thought," he whispered. "She's different at home. Cold, critical. Everything I do is wrong. She keeps saying I lack ambition, that I have no vision." I leaned back on my couch, letting his words hang in the air. "She's spending money like water," he said. "She monitors my messages, checks my emails, says she's helping me stay focused. She hates when I talk to anyone without telling her first." "Evan," I said slowly, "you wanted someone who didn't challenge you." He exhaled shakily. "She's trying to control everything. And she's always talking about how her life used to be so unfair, how people were jealous of her potential, how everyone held her back." I closed my eyes. That sounded exactly like the Naomi I once knew. "There's something else," he said. "She lied about where she worked before. I tried calling the company she listed. They've never heard of her." I didn't respond. "She gets angry if I question anything," he continued, voice breaking. And today she blamed me for everything in her life that went wrong before she met me. I barely recognize her. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But choices have consequences. And Evan had chosen someone who used manipulation as easily as breathing. I don't know what to do, he whispered. It sounds like she's exactly the person she was before, I said softly. What? He asked, confused. You knew her? I didn't tell you, I said. But yes, she caused me a lot of pain before I ever met you. What kind of pain? The kind you don't forget. There was a long silence. Then he said, voice hollow, I don't think she ever loved me. I didn't answer. Some truths don't need to be spoken aloud. Over the next few months, things unraveled quickly for them. Naomi drained their joint account to start a business venture that collapsed within weeks. She blamed Evan for not supporting her vision. She accused him of holding her back. She threatened to reveal things about him that weren't even real. Eventually, Evan filed for separation. As for Naomi, she disappeared from his life the same way she'd once slipped into mine, quietly, strategically, leaving chaos behind her like perfume. I moved on. Slowly, gently. I got a new apartment near work, adopted a senior cat named Milo, started going to pottery classes on weekends. My life became small but peaceful, like a room with a window open just enough to let the breeze in. Sometimes I thought of Evan. Sometimes I thought of Naomi. Mostly, I thought about how lucky I was that both of them were no longer part of my world. People often ask if I feel vindicated, if I feel justice was served, if I still laugh when I think about that wedding photo. The answer is yes, but not for the reasons they think. I laugh because life revealed the truth in a way more poetic than anything I could have planned. Evan left me for a woman who wore sweetness like perfume and ambition like armor. He thought she was his upgrade. She turned out to be the final exam he never studied for. And me? I found peace, not the dramatic, triumphant kind, but the quiet kind that settles into your bones and reminds you that walking away is sometimes the bravest victory. I guess some stories don't end with revenge. Some end simply with relief.